So after what has felt like several weeks or even months of avoiding it, I finally caved in and gave K-pop Demon Hunters a shot.
Oh man. Oh God. Oh man. Oh God. Oh man.
This was mainly because I'd been hearing so much news about all the milestones it had crossed, both on the music front and the Netflix streaming front, eventually becoming the most streamed movie in Netflix history. So all these things pretty much added up to the peer pressure that allowed me to cave in. Because to be honest, I had very little interest in the movie.
Right.
It seemed like another throwaway Netflix animated movie that comes and goes and you don't really hear much about it beyond that. So but I was surprised that the movie had this staying power and it was becoming a very huge part of the cultural zeitgeist. So all these things ensured that it was on my radar. But what actually eventually nudged me to give the movie a shot was when I first heard the song Golden. And from my very first listen, I knew that the song had all the potential to eventually grow on me because it had very catchy lyrics. The production had these earworm melodies and this poppy quality that I knew pretty much would grow on me, but I just had no idea how much because after a while, my recommendations on YouTube were dominated by other songs from the movie. So I found myself binging one after the other until eventually I just couldn't take it anymore. I knew I had to sit down and watch the movie, which was what I eventually did.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And I have to say right off the bat that I am immensely surprised by just how much I was taken aback by this film. There was just a certain quality that explains why the movie has grown into the huge behemoth it has become today. So basically, I think the first thing that we have to address is the overall quality of the music. Because if you look at the Billboard charts right now, the number one song is still Golden. And this is something that has not happened with a movie soundtrack since...
We don't talk about Bruno, no.
Because I remember that Encanto had a lot of love from people and everything. But it's something that usually doesn't happen. And this is because the music and the genre of K-pop in general is something that in recent years has had a very strong place in the cultural zeitgeist. Because you have bands like BTS and Blackpink all being represented in the Billboard charts internationally. And it's that popularity that songwriters have successfully tapped into. So yeah, the music in the film is very good, very catchy. But the thing about a movie like this is that for a movie like this to gain this level of traction, this level of popularity, it has to expand beyond its core demographic, that core audience. Because looking at the movie, you can tell that it's something that was tailor-made for teenage girls.
They're taking a break after this concert and they totally need it, but we're gonna miss them so much!
But because it has this broad appeal, it has even gone beyond the confines of that particular fandom. And this is why you have a lot of families watching it and even goobers like myself eventually sitting down to give it a chance. And I just have to recognize that the music is a key component in all of this. Then of course, we also have to talk about the animation, which is just top notch. Sony Pictures Animation is quickly becoming one of the better animation studios out there. Like they've been hitting consistently of late. Because I remember they had movies like Mitchell's and the Machines, which was another movie that I really loved. And of course, we have to talk about the Spider-Verse movies, which was the first one to introduce this specific animation style, which has been working very well for them. And it's something that is even being adopted or co-opted by other animation studios.
Okay, Batman.
Dude, what? I'm just trying to hype you guys up, okay?
The animation also taps into anime, and we have a lot of anime flourishes with the characters having big googly eyes and very exaggerated expressions. So it's just a very cutesy movie that you just can't help but look at, and the animation definitely scores the movie some additional points. But I think what actually led to the movie exploding the way it did was the story, because despite a very deceptively simple premise, the movie still manages to show some depth, like some hidden depths that I never expected to see in an animated movie, a throwaway animated movie for kids for that matter.
Hey, what's the big idea?
And the way the movie is paced in a brisk way that anybody watching it won't have any problem dozing off or anything. It's very engaging is what I'm getting at. This is something that isn't as easy to do as it might appear. And this was just done on a level that we typically don't see in a Netflix production. So yeah, the music in the movie is great, the animation looks lovely, and the story is surprisingly heartfelt. But all that is not to say that I didn't have some issues with the movie.
Right.
Even though this is technically not a review, I still have to touch upon the fact that there were some one or two nitpicks that I had with the film. And I think the biggest one I had was just its overall depiction of the K-pop landscape. Because the way the movie was framed, it made it appear that there were only two bands in the whole K-pop landscape. Like, we didn't really get a full sense of what the other musicians in the world were doing. Because all you had at the Idol Awards were Huntrix and the Saja Boys. Even though we do get glimpses on their manager's phone showing like a list of the other songs on the charts, we never actually get to see those artists. So because of that, the thing kind of felt like it wasn't fully realized. I didn't really get that sense that these were artists that had managed to rise above everybody else. It would have been nice to see how Huntrix relates with all the other K-pop artists, but this was just something we never actually got to see. Also, regarding Huntrix themselves, the obvious lead was Rumi, and most of the story centered around her. And because of this, we don't really get much in the way of character development for the two other members, Mira and Zoe. Yes, they touched upon briefly what their backstories were like, but we just never actually get to see them have any kind of character development the way Rumi got in the film.
You think we're just gonna let you steal our fans? You're gonna have to fight us for them.
Likewise, I would have loved to learn more about the prior generations of Demon Hunters, because we had this brief introduction in the beginning where they made us understand that every generation we have a trio of singers that are working to protect humans from demons by reinforcing a barrier with their music called the Honmoon. And we get glimpses of the various bands, but we just don't really get much more than that. And I understand that, yes, this is not their story, but I'd love to learn more about them, specifically the Sunlight Sisters, because this was the generation that paved the way for Huntrix. Even one of their members, Celine, is the one that raised up Rumi. Then as well, Rumi's mom, it was disclosed that she had died, but we actually never get to learn how this happened or what led to this. And these were just all the little tidbits of information that would have helped to really flesh out the world, would have taken the world building to that next level. But all that said, I believe that with the success of the movie, we're definitely going to be getting a sequel soon. So hopefully these are things that they can work into the sequel, and by so doing, eventually build up the world and take the story to that next level. Anyway, these are just my off-the-cuff thoughts about K-pop Demon Hunters. As you can tell, I'm pretty much excited and stoked about the movie, but enough about me. What did you think about the movie? What specific aspects of the movie did you like the most? Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed watching this discussion, and to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on if you'd like to see more discussions like this in the future. And until the next one, this is Michael, signing off.